Hello, everybody. It is me. Yeah. So, today we're going to talk about Barbarella. Hello, everyone. My goal today is to show you why Barbarella is secretly a feminist movie. Also, I want to laugh along the way because this film is like someone tried to write I Dream of Jeannie and Star Trek at the same time while doing acid. All right. Now, I'm just going to give you a synopsis of the movie from the beginning. Starts off, Barbarella is flying in her spaceship. She gets a directive from the president of the solar system to find Duran in order to stop the positronic ray from getting into the wrong hands. She's given some Earth weapons and sent on her way. But her spaceship crash lands on a weird crystal snow planet. She is met by some murderous children. And she is saved by a catcher whose job it is to catch feral children and bring them into the city. They both explain how their culture works to each other, and then they have sex. And then he fixes her spaceship, and Barbarella flies away. But then immediately crashes again into a labyrinth. And there she meets Pygar, the angel man, or the ornithothrope, who is blind and incredibly pure. He tells her that the labyrinth is where the city of night, Sogo, puts all of the undesirables, and it's full of deformed people, and there is a revolution afoot. So when some people happen to walk by and try to capture Barbarella, Pygar saves her, and so she has sex with him, and then he is healed. Because, wow, he feels great. That's literally what happens. Her sex allows him to fly. And he flies her to Sogo because her spaceship is broken. But immediately when they get there, they're captured by people. She's almost assaulted several times. She's assaulted by birds and by the inhabitants. And she meets the leader of the revolution, who is in some sort of basement of the city. Don't understand. And she conspires with him because he has the key to the inner sanctum of the Black Queen. And he says, well, if you can get into the throne room, then you can take care of the queen and we'll take care of everyone else. And so the revolution is afoot. She gives them her earth weapons and they all attack the evil queen and her army and win. But the problem is that Duran is super evil and he captures Barbarella and tortures her with an organ. And then traps her in the throne room. And he attempts to try to take over the city himself using the positronic ray. But he is foiled when Barbarella and the Black Queen team up and release the Mathmos. The Mathmos being a lake of pure positive energy that feeds on evil. And it's what causes Sogo to be the city of evil. And when they release it, it consumes everyone that has some evil in their heart. So everyone except for Barbarella and Pygar is destroyed, including Duran Duran. And so they are saved, but everyone is killed. And Pygar flies Barbarella and the Black Queen away, and they fly into the sunset together. And that is the plot of Barbarella. Here are my arguments as to why Barbarella is a feminist movie. Number 1. Barbarella lives in a society without gender roles. It is implied that her society is nudist, pansexual, and polyamorous. Basically, future Earth is gay space communism, and this is a wonderful environment for feminism. In this society, Barbarella holds basically the same job as Captain Kirk. She's a explorer, a scientist, a captain of her ship. There seems to be no expectation that she be a wife or a mother or a caregiver. And notably, there is never a conversation between Barbarella and any man in the movie as if she is someone to be owned. She is never asked if she has a boyfriend or a husband before they talk to her. She is never asked if she is jealous of her partners, and her partners are never jealous of her. And she never has a conversation about boys that she's interested in. She simply wants to complete her mission and have fun along the way. Reason number 2. Barbarella is feminist because she is not ashamed of her body. She is comfortable nude or wearing revealing clothes. She is never shamed for how she looks by anyone else in the movie. She's merely complimented. And in this world, the site of Barbarella is owned just by her. Number 3. Barbarella is feminist because she is not ashamed of sex. She has casual sex with multiple partners. She has an orgasm from an organ. She enjoys sex toys, okay? We're just now getting over the idea of slut shaming in 2025, and Barbarella was doing it over 50 years ago. So, is Barbarella a good movie? Heavens no. Almost every moment in the script feels contrived. Almost all the effects are dated and are so disconnected from the characters in the framing and cutting that there's almost no physical tension. On top of that, for a feminist movie, it objectifies Barbarella a lot. One could argue that's the entire point of the film. And the cherry on top is it contains a heaping wallop of sexual assault, and at almost no point does Barbarella use the word no. But I'm not here to argue Barbarella is a perfect movie. It's not even a good feminist movie by our standards. Would it stack up against Barbie, for instance? No. What I'm here to argue is that Barbarella is still feminist in its own weird way. And honestly, it's feminist in a way that our society still needs. I'm here to say, basically, the hippies walked so we could run. And if you like camp, it's probably worth a late night watch with your snarkiest friends. So, this has been Zinnia. I hope you enjoyed Barbarella. Check, 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 check. Nickelodeon. That's sponsored content. We can't use that. So I'm doing some follow-ups. Firstly, I want to talk about gender in the movie in general. This is one of my big inspirations in talking about film and art in general, is just talking about gender expression, because it's super close to home for me. I identify as someone who is not their given gender, but is something else. And I love how people choose to express gender and what that tells us about our society and how we view gender roles. So in this movie, there are two big tropes that I just want to point out. And I'm sure you've already seen these tropes before, even if you didn't know exactly what to call them. The first one is the evil gay villain. And you know this if you were literally just anyone growing up in the past 40 years and you saw Disney movies. So many Disney movies have coded gay villains, and Barbarella is no exception. The first question is, why do we want to code villains as gay in the first place? Why is this such a common trope? There's a couple of reasons. The first one is that it's meant to contrast with the male lead in the story. The villain's supposed to be the bad version of the good guy, right? We're so used to writing stories in that way with a good guy and a bad guy. And the opposite of a straight nice guy is a gay bad guy. And that is honestly the extent of it sometimes. We're very comfortable coding gayness as something that's bad because it's different. And this is a tradition that goes all the way back to the beginning of cinema. If you watch, classic Hollywood films, they're full of them. It's literally just taking a marginalized group and using its exotic nature in order to paint it as an other so we can dislike them in the movie. And gay is a really safe way to do that. Also, throughout history, and especially in media, we tend to conflate gender role, sexuality together. And we tend to say, well, if you're gay, then you have the gender role of the opposite sex. That is, if you are a gay man, you're effeminate, and if you're a gay woman, you're masculine. And of course we know that those are two different lines on a spectrum graph. They're not the same line. You can be an absolutely tough, masculine gay man. I mean, literally, that's what a bear is. But you could also be a feminine gay woman, and that's what a lipstick lesbian is, right? So that's why they have the gay villain trope. why it exists. There's an element of power associated with sexuality. And especially in a movie about sex, the powerful nature of the character is directly related to how sexually potent they are. For instance, Barbarella is very sexually potent. She helps everyone she meets by having sex with them. We can contrast that with a character that's not necessarily evil, like the leader of the revolution, who is not very potent, but is at least willing to have sex. And he has like a very his sex is not very good with Barbarella, and we also see him struggle to do everything else in the scene. They're conflating the idea that, well, if you're bad at sex, then you're probably also bad at these other things in life. And then we have Duran Duran. Duran Duran is a man who speaks in this light intellectual voice that's unlike many of the other characters in the movie. He's dressed in a way that's unlike any of the other characters in the movie. He covers his body. And he doesn't have sex with Barbarella directly. He tortures her sexually using an instrument. And the use of the instrument is the most important part here. He is using a organ because his own organ doesn't work. It's the idea that, well, if you don't want to have sex with women, then you must have something wrong with your body, because otherwise you'd be having sex with women. So gay people are just impotent men who can't handle fucking women, is kind of the philosophy of these old movies. And it's very clear with Duran Duran. Philosophically, he's a character who wants to control people because he is afraid of being controlled himself. And if we're to look at it from a gender role perspective, he's kind of like, he's afraid of taking on the masculine role in the world. So he's going to dodge the question by just forcing everyone to his will using weapons or sex organs, as it were. So I think it's interesting to point that one out. The other big one is the Black Queen. And the Black Queen is the crazy, homicidal, slut, bisexual woman. The bisexual, crazy, murderous slut is always all three of these things. And this is a common trope as well. For similar reasons, the crazy, slutty, murderous, bisexual woman is so prevalent. We actually just watched Mickey 17, a movie that came out like last year, and it has that trope in it. Again, we have the idea that if a woman is gay, she's taking on the gender role of the opposite sex. So she's taking on a masculine gender role. So the Black Queen is sexually aggressive, and she's powerful. And they cut this always by making her insane. And I think the idea is, again, people who break the ideas of gender are dangerous to the status quo. And women especially learning to act on their own without the help of men are dangerous. So they're, consciously or not, undercutting that idea by making these characters of the slutty bisexual woman always kind of unhinged, because if they weren't, then they would just take over the world. And they want to make the characters susceptible. We see in the movie this Black Queen gets advice from Duran Duran. He's like the brains, and she's the brawn, or the body, as it were, because she has working sex organs and he does not. It goes without saying, hopefully, that both of these stereotypes are harmful to people who are actually gay in the real world, and we should really get away from using them when we make stories now. But it's an interesting lens to look at the past through, and it's an interesting way of understanding how our society still kind of use these ideas. I mean, it's still pretty common to assume that lesbians are butch and gay men are effeminate, even though that's not the case. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about both of those gender role things. And then I wanted to talk about the comic book. So the comic book, I actually found some scans of one of the originals, and I think it's so interesting. So the graphic novel, there's some lines that are taken directly from the graphic novel and used in the movie. It's relatively faithful. For instance, they do have murderous twins in a snow world. That totally happens. They have murderous dolls in the snow world. They have a one-eyed wench. But they have some things that do not happen in the movie, such as her having sex with this weirdly faced bored robot. I would say in general the tone is similar, which is Barbarella is just kind of thrown into these circumstances and is just kind of punished physically and or sexually until she is helped out of it, and then she has sex with someone. She's kind of just a mannequin, if I'm being honest, to put in there and poke and prod with weird sci-fi things. But she does speak for herself. She has her own opinions. And in fact, I would say the comic book Barbarella is a little meaner than the movie one. The movie one's actually incredibly sweet and innocent to the point of being childlike. And I think that really does the movie well. I don't think I want to talk about anything else. Just like so many subjects, the more I learned about it, the more I wanted to learn about it. And if I wanted to, I could have done a whole, background in feminism and how it relates to Barbarella, and the hippie movement and how it relates to Barbarella, and comics as an art form and how it relates to movies. I could have talked about a whole bunch of that, and I didn't, because I didn't want this movie or video to be an hour long. But if we want to revisit it, we've got more to talk about. So thanks for staying this long, and I hope you enjoyed Barbarella.
Tell me, my fancy fuzzy freak, what do you think of when you make love to Barbarella?
Make love? I do not understand.
Don't be coy with me. You are in no position. If only you had one eye in your head, you would see what a delight I am. My face, my body, all my things are a delight. An exquisite delight.
What is it you want?
I shall share my delights with you. You shall make love to me.
An angel does not make love. An angel is love.
Then you're a dead duck. God